Hello, you lovely people! The long-awaited 6.0 beta version is finally out. So in this video, we will cover everything coming in this new 6.0 version, starting from new characters to banners, new difficulty coming in Imaginarium Theater, and 2 artifacts coming in this version as well. That's why watch this video till the end to know about all of these informations. And subscribe to my channel to get more updates like this in future, without any useless promotions. First, let's start with the new characters we will be getting in version 6.0. In version 6.0, we will be getting 3 new characters. And those characters are Lauma, Flins, and Ano. Lauma and Flins will be the 5-star characters, and Ano will be the 4-star character. Now, let's talk about the full kit and skills of Lauma. So, Lauma will be a Dendro Catalyst user, and she has a lot of skills to be discussed about, so sit tight everyone. Her normal attack performs up to 3 attacks that deal Dendro damage. During her charged attack, Lauma undergoes Spirit Envoy Metamorphosis, transforming into an envoy of the Tranquil Forest and consuming stamina to charge forward for up to 10 seconds. While in this state, Lauma's interruption resistance is increased, and she can consume additional stamina to perform up to 2 consecutive jumps. When exiting the Spirit Envoy state, Spirit Envoy Metamorphosis will enter cooldown, during which time, Lauma's charged attack will be transformed into Spirit Call Prayer, which consumes a certain amount of stamina to deal AoE Dendro damage to opponents in front of her after a short casting time. During her plunging attack, Lauma plunges towards the ground from midair, damaging all opponents in her path and dealing AoE Dendro damage upon impact with the ground. At level 9, her normal attack scales something like this. Her first hit deals 57.29% damage. Her second hit deals 54.06% damage. Her third hit deals 75.64% damage. Moving in Spirit Envoy form drains 25 stamina per second, and jumping costs 10 stamina, while Spirit Envoy form lasts up to 10 seconds before ending. After leaving Spirit Envoy form, there's a 4-second cooldown before you can reactivate it. Casting Spirit Call Prayer consumes 50 stamina and deals 219.36% damage. As for her plunge attacks, it deals 104.4% damage, whereas a low plunge deals 208.76% damage and a high plunge deals 260.76% damage. Now let's talk about her elemental skill, which is called Runo Dawnless Rest of Karsico. With her elemental skill, she summons a peregrination of Linen Rata with different effects depending on whether you tap or hold. Peregrination of Linen Rata is a magical array that protects the Moonchanters and can be summoned by using the elemental skill. The peregrination of Linen Rata will follow the active character, dealing a single instance of AoE Dendro damage to opponents within the array every 2 seconds. This damage is considered elemental skill damage. Now, if you tap her elemental skill, she intones a hymn of hunting and deals AoE Dendro damage. The hold option only can be used to summon when you have at least 1 Verdant Dew. After that, Lauma will consume all Verdant Dew and intones a hymn of eternal rest, dealing 1 regular instance of AoE Dendro damage and another instance of AoE Dendro damage that is considered Lunar Bloom damage. Each Verdant Dew consumed will give Lauma 1 stack of Moon Song. Each time you hold to cast an elemental skill, a maximum of 3 Verdant Dew can be consumed in this way. Additionally, when Lauma's elemental skill or attacks from peregrination of Linen Rata hit an opponent, that opponent's Dendro resistance and Hydro resistance will be decreased for 10 seconds. If you're wondering what is Moon Song is a melody used to weave together hymns. When using an elemental burst, or for a short time after an elemental burst has been used, it can be converted into pale hymn stacks that increase the damage from Bloom, Hyper Bloom, Burgeon, and Lunar Bloom reactions. When Lauma consumes Verdant Dew to perform the whole version of her elemental skill, each Verdant Dew consumed will provide Lauma with 1 stack of Moon Song. And at level 9, her elemental skill scales something like this. Pressing the ability deals 141.44% damage. Holding it performs a two-stage charged attack, where the first hit strikes for 183.87% damage, while the second hit unleashes 442% damage per verdant dew consumed. The peregrination of Linenrada attack scales with 163.2% of attack plus 326.4% of elemental mastery, lasting 15 seconds. Similarly, Moon Song persists for 15 seconds. Enemies hit by her elemental skill have their 22.5% elemental resistance decreased for 10 seconds with a cooldown of 12 seconds. Now, let's take a look at her elemental burst, which is called Runo All Hearts Become the Beating Moon. During her elemental burst, Lauma incants a sacred song of the far north, gaining 18 stacks of Pale Hymn. Pale Hymn is when party members deal Bloom, Hyper Bloom, Burgeon, or Lunar Bloom damage. One stack of Pale Hymn will be consumed, and the damage dealt will be increased based on Lauma's elemental mastery. If this damage hits multiple opponents at once, then multiple stacks of Pale Hymn will be consumed, depending on how many opponents are hit. The duration for each stack of Pale Hymn is counted independently. Additionally, if Lauma uses her elemental burst while she is Moon Song, or she gains Moon Song within 15 seconds of using her elemental burst, she will consume all Moon Song stacks and gain 6 stacks of Pale Hymn for every Moon Song stack consumed. This effect can only be triggered once for each elemental burst used, including the following 15 seconds. At level 9, her elemental burst scales something like this. Using the elemental burst grants 18 stacks of Pale Hymn, and each Moon Song consumed converts into 6 additional stacks. The ability enhances Bloom, Hyper Bloom, and Burgeon damage by 435.2% of the character's elemental mastery, while Lunar Bloom effects gain a 217.6% elemental mastery damage boost. Pale Hymn lasts for 15 seconds, matching the ability's 15-second cooldown, and requires 60 energy to cast. Now, let's take a look at her passive skills. Her first passive is called Light for the Frosty Night. With this passive skill for the next 20 seconds after Lauma uses her elemental skill, different buff effects will be granted, depending on the party's moon sign. With Moon Sign Nascent Rise, all party members gain 2 stacks of Dusktide Vigil. Dusktide Vigil occurs when Bloom, Hyper Bloom, and Burgeon damage dealt by party members can score crit hits with a fixed crit rate. Crit rate from this effect stacks with crit rate from similar effects that allow these elemental reactions to crit. With Moon Sign Nascent Gleam, all party members gain 1 stack of Dusktide Vigil and 1 stack of Moonlight Prayer. And with Moon Sign Ascendant Gleam, all party members gain 2 stacks of Moonlight Prayer. Her second passive skill is called Cleansing for the Spring. With this passive skill, each point of elemental mastery Lauma has will give her the following bonuses. Damage dealt by the peregrination of Linenrada summoned by her elemental skill is increased by 0.04%. The maximum increase obtainable this way is 32%. And the cooldown of her charged attack Spirit Envoy Metamorphosis is reduced by 0.02%. The maximum reduction obtainable this way is 20%. Her third passive skill is called Moon Sign Benedictum Nature's Chorus. With this passive skill, when a party member triggers a Bloom reaction, it will be converted into the Lunar Bloom reaction. With every point of elemental mastery that Lauma has, increases Lunar Bloom's base damage by 0.0175%, up to a maximum of 14%. Additionally, when Lauma is in the party's moon sign will increase by 1 level. Lastly, her fourth passive skill is called Prayers for the Forest. This passive skill displays the location of nearby resources unique to Nodcry on the minimap. Additionally, Lauma appears to have a special affinity with small animals affected by Kavaki. Now, let's take a look at her constellation. With her C1 after Lauma uses her elemental skill or her elemental burst, she will gain Threads of Life for 20 seconds. During this time, when nearby party members trigger Lunar Bloom reactions, nearby active characters will recover HP equal to 500% of Lauma's elemental mastery. This effect can be triggered once every 2 seconds. Additionally, the stamina cost for Lauma's Spirit Envoy form will be reduced by 40%, and its max duration will be extended by 5 seconds. With her C2, the elemental burst is enhanced and Pale Him effects are increased. Where party members Bloom, Hyper Bloom, and Burgeon damage is further increased by 400% of Lauma's elemental mastery, and their Lunar Bloom damage is further increased by 160% of Lauma's elemental mastery. And Moon Sign Ascendant Gleam effects on party members' Lunar Bloom damage is also increased by 40%. Her C3 and C5 increases the level of her elemental skill and elemental burst by 3. With her C4, when attacks from the Peregrination of Linenrada are summoned by her elemental skill hit opponents, Lauma will regain 4 elemental energy. This effect can be triggered once every 5 seconds. With her C6, when the Peregrination of Linenrada attacks opponents, it will deal 1 additional instance of AoE Dendro damage equal to 320% of Lauma's elemental mastery. This damage is considered Lunar Bloom damage. This instance of damage will not consume any Pale Him stacks and will provide Lauma with 2 stacks of Pale Him, as well as refreshing the duration of Pale Him stacks gained in this manner. This effect can occur up to 8 times during each Peregrination of Linenrada. When using the elemental skill, all Pale Him stacks gained in this manner will be removed. Additionally, when Lauma uses a normal attack while she has Pale Him stacks, she will consume 1 stack to convert this to deal Dendro damage equal to 280% of her elemental mastery. This damage is considered Lunar Bloom damage and cannot be overridden by other elemental infusions. Also, the effects of Moon Sign Ascendant Gleam, where all party members' Lunar Bloom damage is elevated by 10%. And that was everything about Lauma. As for full kit of Flynns and Ano, we will cover that in our next video, as including those in the same video can increase the video length drastically. Now, let's talk about the banners. In version 6.0, we will have banners for Flynns, Lauma, Yelan, and Nahida. As a 4-star, we will have Ano in one of these banners as well. As for the new difficulty in Imaginarium Theater, on top of the difficulty we already have in Imaginarium Theater, there will be a new difficulty added in the version 6.0. Now let's take a look at the new artifacts coming in this version. These new sets don't have any names yet, but we have details of each 2-piece and 4-piece effects of these sets. So the first set of artifacts, which looks like this. Its 2-piece set bounce increases elemental mastery by 80. And with a 4-piece set bonus, when party members trigger moonglare reactions, if the equipping character is on the field, gain the Gleaming Moon intent effect for 4 seconds, which increases crit rate by 15% and 30% when the party's moon sign is Nascent Gleam and Ascendant Gleam. All party members' moonglare reaction damage is increased by 10% for each different Gleaming Moon effect that party members have. The equipping character can trigger this effect while off-field. And the 2-piece set bonus of the second artifact increases the energy recharge by 20%. With 4 pieces, when dealing elemental damage, gain the Gleaming Moon Devotion effect for 8 seconds. It also increases all party members' elemental mastery by 60 and 120 when the party's moon sign is Nascent Gleam or Ascendant Gleam. All party members' moonglare reaction damage is increased by 10% for each different Gleaming Moon effect that party members have. The equipping character can trigger this effect while off-field. These moon effects are basically the exclusive synergy system of Nod Cry. So, do not get confused with these effects, as we will get better explanations of these moon effects in future beta updates as well. And that's all for this video. In our next video, we will discuss the full kit and constellations of Flynns and Ano. So don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel.